Welcome to another edition of Transparency in Government. Glad to have you here. My name's Dottie Grover, and I'm going to be your host. Our number one guest is, of course, Kevin Smith, the town manager, and Kevin comes on with us once a month to let us know what's going on around town. Welcome, Kevin.
Dottie, thanks for having me. I'll just clarify one thing, though. You're always number one.
Oh, whoa, okay.
Let's get that straight.
Now they're going to think I don't pick on you because you're, complimenting me. And today we have a special guest from the fire department. We have Darren O'Brien.
Thank
you. Darren, you're the chief.
I am.
And we have a chief in the director's room too. Only he was there a long time ago. He's much older than Darren.
Horse and buggy.
True. Yeah. I was thinking
Back
of that.
when the roads were still dirt.
When Harvey Road was still Milk Road, or Hardy Road, I can't get those straight. So anyway, Darren, I'd like you to catch us up on what's going on with the fire department.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
What we're doing now is we've been doing a lot of training on the latest events with the scare of Ebola and some of the things that have been going on and everybody sees in the papers and on the news and stuff like that.
How do you prepare for something like that?
Well, our training division, actually we're precedent setting for the southern part of New Hampshire right now. We went to a hazardous materials meeting last Friday, and all the area chiefs were in the room, and they were looking for ways on how we were going to handle this situation and stuff like that, and we had told them what we had done up to this point. So now we are actually in the process of writing the policy for all the other area towns that probably are going to follow suit.
And not the only department in which that happens, where Londonderry is the model.
Right.
So that's great.
We try and stay ahead of the curve and do everything we can to, not only keep our citizens safe, but to keep our personnel safe as well.
Great, that's great.
So yeah, I'm very excited about that. And
is it, sorry to interject, Darren, but is it Battalion Chief Roger who's taking the lead on a lot of this?
It is. Battalion Chief Roger is a member of the hazardous materials team for Southern New Hampshire. He's a tech team leader, so he's got a good knowledge of, what needs to be done and what protective equipment to use, and he's done a great job with it.
That's great.
The amount of knowledge he has on these issues is extremely impressive. He goes to a lot of the trainings and reads up on a lot of it, and really it's no doubt in my mind why we are the model for the state in this is because he's really done a remarkable job of making sure we're prepared for any type of crisis that may occur.
That's terrific. It's nice to see someone who has a passion for their job.
And we've been in contact with the airport fire chief in reference to people that may come in with symptoms on airplanes and stuff like that. So we have a policy worked out with them on how we're going to handle that situation and where they're going to go, where they're going to be transported to, how our people are going to mitigate the situation, what they're going to wear, how they're going to take this gear off and dispose of it once we're done with the incident. So it's continually revolving. There's new stuff that comes up every day.
Sure.
There'll be another conference call today at noontime. Every Friday they update from the CDC and the State Health Department, and
that's good to know. I'm sure a lot of people don't realize that.
So I definitely think Londonderry is ahead of the curve in what we have for equipment, what we have for training, and I think we'll be in good shape.
That's great. That's great. So what else are you guys doing over there?
Well, we're going through the budget cycle now.
Oh, yes.
So
I don't miss that
no,
at all.
I don't blame you.
Oh, it's fun, Dottie. Come on. It's my favorite time of the year.
Oh, boy.
So we're going through that. Town Manager Smith will present, I believe, yours on Monday, correct?
I'll be giving an overview
to
of
the
it.
council. Yeah. So what we're looking at, there's a lot of new building going on in town.
Oh, yeah.
We have like 980,000 square feet of industrial and commercial space going in. There's like 1,200 new residential properties being built. So
I know the school district is looking at that too.
yeah. So again, we're trying to stay ahead of the curve, and they've done impact studies for the planning department, and these impact studies show the need for additional firefighters. So I've presented to Town Manager Smith that I would like to put in for a warrant article this year to add some staff to the fire department, to bring our staffing levels up a little bit to stay ahead of the curve again and, you know, address some of our staffing concerns.
That's great, yeah.
As you've seen probably through the last year's budget cycle and that process, you know, overtime and replacement has been a big issue on
It
how
has,
much the department spends on overtime. But you know, we struggle with trying to keep a staffing level of 10 personnel on, you know, 24 hours a day.
Right.
And right now, with the people being out, I've had a lot of injuries. I had, you know, last winter I had 7 people out at one point in time.
Oh my
Right
goodness.
now I have 5. So you can't anticipate these things.
Right.
And so we've had to drop down to 9 personnel at night. Still, you know, keeping everybody safe and trying to keep the citizens safe and, you know, my personnel safe. But we're trying to do everything we can to stay within the budget. But it's sometimes difficult because you don't anticipate all these people being
Of course,
injured.
yeah.
And, you know,
How would you be able to?
Right.
And you know, Darren, Darren, I think in a way almost kind of understated it, but there's a real. I think Darren's done a very good job of. It's a balancing act between trying to stay in your budget,
Right.
but also staffing at a level where you're
Exactly,
keeping
yeah.
the
You almost
public
need
safe.
to be a magician.
Yeah, but it's you know, and so yeah, I think he's taken the proper steps he's needed to take, especially when you have, as he said, so many personnel out at
Right.
one time. You know, how do you balance it between, again, staying within those parameters that are in the budget, but also making sure you have adequate staffing levels?
Yeah.
Is dropping below 10 the ideal? No, it's not. You would like to be at 10 at all times. But at the same time, you know, the voters authorize only so much money
Right.
every year,
Yeah.
and so you want to, you know, you want to stay within what they've authorized.
My position with budgeting was always that you have to tell them what they need
Yep.
from your expert position,
Yep.
and then they decide whether or not they want to
Absolutely.
pay for that.
Yep, and that's what I've been trying to do the last couple of years is just present a budget that I think the department could operate on, and then let the policymakers and the townspeople make the decision, you know, from there.
Right.
That's my job to do. So I'm optimistic about that. I think that will go very well.
Okay.
We're doing a lot of things with the schools right now. October was Fire Prevention Month, so we have our Division Chief from Fire Prevention, Brian Johnson, Patricia Hammond, Phil LeBlanc from our Community Relations Department.
Phil
And-
knows all about Londonderry Access Center.
Yeah, so they go out to the schools, and we have the Firefighter Hill program, and then they have different classes that they teach throughout the school district, and you know, that's been very beneficial. Tonight's Halloween.
Yes, it
So we'll
is.
have the crews out handing out, you know, glow
Yeah.
necklaces, so
You might
everybody
not
can
be
be seen.
watching this on Halloween, though.
No, you might not be watching it on Halloween. So yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff going on.
Terrific.
Darren, you guys had an open house
Oh, yeah.
We did.
last weekend
Yep.
or 2 weekends ago, but how, what do you do at the open house? What are some of the things that
This year, our demonstrations were we had a mock kitchen fire, so a grease fire, to show how to handle a grease fire in your kitchen prior to the fire department coming there. We had Mitch.
Not the way my sister handled hers,
Yeah.
with water.
We had Mitch, who was the fire prevention officer from Manchester, come down with his dog, and his dog can sniff out accelerants. So
Oh, wow.
they use that to, you know, for arson cases or suspected arson cases. So that was good. We had the State Forest and Lands come down, our area warden Neil Bilodeau, and he talked about, you know, fire danger and brush fires and what you need for permits and stuff like that. So that was a lot of good information. We had the alert team that came and showed their trailer and what they can
Yeah.
do for communications and stuff like that. And then we had Merrimack Police Department come over with a safety or a seatbelt simulator. So what that did, it was basically a seat that was mounted on some sort of a rail system, and it basically simulated a impact at 5 miles per hour.
Oh, wow.
So it showed the impact, it showed the force of what you can have at 5 miles per hour without a seatbelt. So
Yeah.
it was good. We had a great turnout. I think we had probably somewhere between 800 and 1,000 people show up throughout the day, and yeah, it was very good.
Good turnout,
So,
absolutely.
I'm glad
I
to
think
see it.
it's important that the residents realize that you don't just run out and put out a fire.
Yeah.
You are doing a lot of prevention, a lot of safety,
Yep.
and I think that's really great. Get to be in a proactive position instead of a reactive
Right.
position a lot of the time.
Yep.
So,
So,
sounds good.
He's doing a great job over there.
He is, yeah, I kind of watch.
Yeah. No,
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
The town is, I think, incredibly fortunate to have someone like Darren running the department. He's a longtime Londonderry kid, and you know, has been with the department. How many years you've been with the department, Darren?
altogether now, almost 30.
Almost. What? You're almost in SciPec territory.
I am almost in SciPec
Wow.
territory.
So I mean, 30 years, chief, and like I said, I think the town is well served by the job that Darren's done. Something to note as well, we passed a new fireworks ordinance
Oh, that's right,
not
yeah.
that long
yeah.
ago, and part of that ordinance now says if you're going to be lighting off consumer fireworks, not sparklers, not the champagne
things that
poppers,
shoot in the
but
air
things
and-
that
yeah.
shoot in the air, Dottie, you're going to have to get a permit now from the fire department. No cost
Yeah,
to the permit.
yeah. But you get a little safety training?
Well,
maybe,
you're gonna
or-
get some safety tips when you do receive the permit, but it's also because we've capped the number of times you can get a permit throughout the year.
Right,
To I believe the number's 12.
Okay.
And that does not include the 4th of July, and the 3 days prior and the 3 days after the 4th of July.
Okay.
But the council felt that it was prudent to implement that, and so if you're going to be lighting off fireworks now, and you don't need to get a permit, by the way, on the 4th or pretty much that entire week. But outside of that time, if you're going to be lighting them off, make sure you go down to the fire department, and they'll set you up with the permit. And
Good to know.
as I said,
Good
give
to know.
you the safety tips
Yeah.
too, because of course that's the biggest component. You know, we live in a live free or die state.
We
We've
do.
got
Yeah.
4 fireworks stores
I
in town
know.
here.
How do we support them?
People
I
like
just- wow.
their fireworks, but we want to make sure people are safe.
Yes, yeah.
Doing it.
Yeah.
So,
And it's amazing what people don't know
Right.
sometimes about
Yep.
fireworks.
Yep.
right.
We had a horrible incident at my house when I was a kid. Everybody was shooting off fireworks on the 4th of July, and we all knew what we were doing, and was, throwing firecrackers, lighting them and throwing them and all that. And this one lady who was a city girl and had never done anything like that said, "Oh, I want to try one of those." And my father gave her a firework and lit it, and she held it.
Oh,
That was a mess.
Yeah.
So it's sometimes amazing. You just take for granted that people know how to
Right.
handle something, but
as long as you
getting those
use
safety
the proper
tips is
safety
good.
precautions, and
Yep.
sometimes a lot of it's just common sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can eliminate a lot of the problems.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. As he said, sounds like you're doing a great job.
Well, I appreciate that.
Okay,
I'm
so,
trying my best.
Keep on hanging in there.
I will.
So what's going on with you?
So Dottie, I had the pleasure of announcing some good news to the Budget Committee last week, and that is that for the first time in 7 years, the tax rate in Londonderry is going down
Oh, my God.
instead of going up. And just to give some background on how we got there, there's really 3 components that make up your tax rate. There's the appropriations, which is how much spending you're
Right.
doing.
Yep.
There's how much outside revenue, aside from the property taxes that you're bringing in. Some of that state revenue, rooms and meals tax. Some of it comes from motor vehicle registrations that we do.
Comcast.
What's that?
Comcast.
Yep. And then there's the third component is our total valuations. So how much all of our property is worth in town, both commercial and residential. And so when we had put the budget together last March, you make a projection on what you think.
Your best guess.
It is.
Yeah.
It's your best guess
Yeah.
because you don't have all those numbers. You don't know what the state revenues are going to look like that the towns get.
Yeah.
You really won't know your valuation until April 1st of the, after you've already voted on it. The only thing you do know for sure is what your appropriations are because
Right.
those are voted on in March. And so when we did our budget last year, we estimated conservatively. And by doing that, at that time, we had projected that if all of the warrant articles passed, which they did, that we would see a 7-cent increase in the tax rate. Now, in 2013, there was a 60-cent increase. It was I want to say 34
And
cents.
people need to understand that's per thousand. That's not just on your bill.
60 cents per thousand,
yeah.
right. And that 60, by the way, is made up of both town and school. Yeah.
County?
And a little bit
Little bit
county,
county.
but mostly the town and school. And so that was 13. We had projected it would be 7 cents and 14. Well, when we got all of our numbers, room and meals came in higher than we had projected it was going to be. We had our 5-year update on the valuations recently in this last year. We had all of our commercial properties updated. And so actually what happened is our total valuation in the town went up, most of it due to commercial valuations. Most, not all, but a lot of residential valuations actually came down because we were at about 110% of market value. And so we wanted to get it closer to 100. So people may actually see when they get their tax bills in a few weeks, people may actually see that not only did the tax rate come down, but that their home valuation came down a little bit as well. And so that went up, revenues went up, and because of that, it resulted in a net decrease of 9 cents on the town side. 2 cents from the current rate. The current rate is 5.19. Town side's going down to 5.17.
Cool.
So we projected 5.26, down to 5.17, and the school rate stayed flat. And there were a little bit of a slight increase on the state side of it and the county side. So overall, the rate's going down 1 cent, and on the town side, it's going down 2 cents. Which, you know, people may say, well, geez, 1 cent. You know, la-di-da.
But that's the direction you want to be in.
But that's the direction you want to be
be holding it best and down if you can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Rather than 60 cents, which is what happened the year before.
Yeah.
And so it's important when you're putting together your budget that you're, again, you estimate conservatively, but you try to put budgets together that aren't going to have wild fluctuations in the tax rate.
Right.
And so you try to keep your appropriations similar to, you know, hopefully what they were the year prior, and maybe look for new ways to bring in some more revenue aside from property taxes. And I go back to what I've said all along, which is that by inviting more business into the community, by bringing more commercial industry in, you're increasing the total valuation that you have in the town,
Right.
which means it takes the burden off of the residential
homeowner,
taxpayers.
Yep.
Believe it or not, our percentage right now in terms of commercial taxes versus residential is about 67-33. So 67% residential, 33 business. I'd like to see that get closer,
that's a
close
good
that
number.
gap. And there are some towns that the disparity is even larger
Sure.
than that. You look at Derry right now. Derry's tax rate's nearly $10 higher per thousand than what Londonderry is.
Wow.
Londonderry in this entire region, southern New Hampshire, has one of the lowest tax rates in the entire region. So we've done a fairly good job, but a big part of that has been bringing in that commercial industry and you know, increasing the base there of businesses and industry in town.
That's good news.
And speaking of which, you can see a lot of it at Pettingill Road.
Okay, yeah.
Anyone that's driven by there lately will see that it's just going like gangbusters up there between the new FedEx facility off of Industrial Drive and the new, I get asked all the time by people, they say, what's being built at the intersection of you know, Ray Resort Drive and the airport access road?
Yeah.
You know, people, is that a big retaining wall? What is that? Is the UPS Pratt Whitney facility. So it's a logistics center that UPS will be running for Pratt Whitney, which, you know, they manufacture jet airline engines.
Wow.
So it's a 600,000 square foot building, and it's going up awfully fast because they need to be ready by the spring.
Maybe we could get those people to build our roads,
Well,
the state roads, so they can do it faster.
to build the state roads. I see what
faster,
you're saying.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, there, you know,
For the life of me, I swear
They work
just
pretty
keep
quick.
moving the dirt from one side of the road to the other.
and you bring up another point that I wasn't planning on getting into, but I will, and that is, you know, what is going on with I-93, what the you know, construction timeline is and completion date. Their hope, we just met with the officials not that long ago, their hope is to have the entire I-93 project completed by the year 2020. So it's still 5 years off. Exit 5 is completely done now. They've finished with that. Of course, Exit 4 still has to be completed. Exit 3, they're still working on. And there's and there's a lot of improvements off of the exits too.
Yes, there are.
Exit 4 is going to see significant improvements along Route 102, both going towards Derry and back into Londonderry, to alleviate all of the traffic congestion, especially in the morning and in the evenings. I mean, it's not fun to travel through there. So there's going to be a lot of improvements made, but it's a major bridge at that intersection as well, where the highway is. So, and included right now in their plans, as I've said before, is now Exit 4A, which will go east into Derry, but it'll be between Exits 4 and 5. That project has been turned over to the DOT, which previously it wasn't, so they'll be including it on their 10-year highway plan and as part of the whole I-93 widening project. So that's some good news down the road, I think.
No pun intended.
No. And then there's the Musquash.
Yes, how's that going?
So what the council announced at their last meeting is that they're going to have another workshop.
Okay.
There's been a lot of recommendations put on the table.
If anybody hasn't been following this, we're talking about being able to shoot in the Musquash.
Particularly target shooting
practicing,
in the Musquash. The issue that many of the residents have brought to the council is that because of the target shooting, the amount of target shooting that goes on the Musquash area, that a lot of residents don't feel it's safe to utilize the trails in there. And so, as I said, there's been a lot of different ideas presented to the council on this. No decisions have been made at all. And I can tell you probably every idea is being looked at and is being run by our town attorney to see if, legally we can do some of these things. I should say that the council can.
Would they be enforceable?
Would they be enforceable? What would the enforcement of it look like? So there's a lot of variables to all of this, and I know the council wants to get it right, so they're taking it slow. They're not going to make any rash decisions and pull the trigger quickly on anything.
Again with the
Again,
puns.
I know it must be a pun day. But so what they're going to do is have another workshop. They'll be announcing the date of that workshop at the next council meeting on November the 3rd.
Okay.
So that'll be next Monday. I don't know when this show is airing.
It'll
But
definitely be
people who-
on the air by Monday.
It'll
the
be on the
3rd.
air by Monday?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're going to announce that workshop date, and that'll be an opportunity for people to come back, express their opinions to the council. The council will also give some specific ideas and direction probably to me to explore more, again, with the town attorney and with the chief of police as well. So I think they want to find a resolution to this, but as I said, they want to get it right and don't want to rush into it too quick.
That's a good policy right there.
I think it is.
Yeah,
So.
I like that.
Yeah.
So, anything else happening up there? in your office?
We've got budget season
Oh, yeah.
is underway,
Yeah.
as we mentioned
Yeah, I
before.
said that, yeah.
I will be making a very brief budget presentation to the council on Monday evening, again on the 3rd at the council meeting.
And if somebody wanted to follow the process, I'm assuming that the dates that you'll be discussing budget are probably on the website?
Yes,
Okay.
they are. The first really big meeting is Saturday, November 15th. And that's when the departments will come in. I'll do a presentation via PowerPoint on what my budget's proposing. And so that's really the first big day of it. Again,
And that's sometimes a long day.
sometimes it is. Sometimes it is, but it's part of the process.
Yeah.
So that's, those are the two really important dates right now. And then after the meeting on the 15th, there'll be a lot of budget workshops after that between the council and the budget committee.
Yeah, and I would highly recommend that people try and follow that process as much as they can. And it's not just, they don't have to tune in just when you're making the presentations live. They can then rewatch those presentations on Channel 22 and Channel 30 so that they can see it at their leisure and be able to
Absolutely.
have a better understanding of what's going into this.
Dottie, I've said it before and I'll state it again. more than, the voter turnout at local elections in March is the lowest turnout of any of the kind of elections we have, state elections, the federal elections, and the local elections. But yet, it's probably having the biggest impact on anybody's
people's
pocketbook.
And their lives, their pocketbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because most of the taxes that you're paying are local taxes. And so I encourage people to get involved. I encourage them to watch the process. The town side is a $30 million budget. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And again, it's being raised primarily by local property taxes. So it's important people be involved. It's important people be informed. And I would love to see the turnout for a local election be as much as it is it's going to be next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, yeah.
When we do our state and federals. But again, the reality is the local decisions are probably having the biggest impact on people's
Absolutely,
lives.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do miss the days when we had 1,800 people in the school gym.
There's pluses and minuses to going the way we've gone with the ballot voting. And there are people who have said, we should go back to the regular town hall because people become more engaged rather than just going to the ballot box. At the same time, there are some people that like the convenience of not having to take an entire day to go to town meeting, especially if they've got young kids on a Saturday. It's tough. And they'd rather just go and vote on a Tuesday in March. So I think there's pluses and minuses to both sides.
And is there anything else we should cover today?
I don't know. We've covered quite a bit.
I think we did.
Dottie.
Yeah.
Nothing
It's
else.
scary. It took up so much time.
And I think Darren would agree with me when I say, any time that there's families that want to go down and visit the fire department and see what they do down there, especially young kids. Young kids, they love seeing the equipment and the fire trucks. I know these guys are more than happy to welcome anybody in.
And are you still doing, when you install a car seat, you can go down and make sure that it's installed properly?
They have a hotline now that you can call,
Okay.
and it will set you up either with one of our personnel or one of the police department's personnel to make appointments, because unfortunately over the years we've lost people that have been certified in it.
Oh, okay.
So right now they're being able to set up appointments. But yeah, like Kevin says, by all means, if anybody's got any questions in reference to the fire department, or you just want to come in with the kids and visit, by all means do so.
Okay.
I'd welcome that.
And all the information for contact is on the website, the londonderrynh.org.
londonderrynh.org, yeah.
And
We have a town newsletter now.
we do.
We do. That is been taken on by our town clerk, Sherry Farrell, and also my administrative assistant, Kirby Wade.
Okay.
And this was actually, it was an idea that came to us from a resident in town who owns property in a community in Pennsylvania. And he sent us the newsletters that the town of Pennsylvania sends, and said it would be great if Londonderry could do something like this too. It's just some helpful information in there and give people a sense and more ideas about what's going on.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to go on the website. The newsletter is right there on the homepage, and to check it out. It's I think people will like it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Just a way to
Keep us plugged in.
get more information out
Yeah.
to the folks.
Yep. That's a terrific idea. Okay. Well, I want to thank both of you for being here today. I know you're both very busy, especially budget season. It's especially hectic, and I do appreciate you taking time to come and let people know what's going on. And we'll be doing this again, right?
Yep.
We're
Absolutely.
going to do it in October.
Darren's offered to come on every show
Every
now.
show now, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, just loves that camera. Hope that you enjoyed this edition of Transparency in Government. And I would remind you that if you are watching this not watching this live, if you're watching other programs in the government channel and you're watching them live, you can see them in repeats. They're all on demand on lactv.com. Sorry about that. lactv.com. And if anybody would like to get involved in either having their own show or being crew member for someone else's show, give us a call and we'd be happy to get you trained. It's fun, it's not hard. And I want to say thank you very much for watching, and watch the end of the show to see all the contact information.